Jake, what's your detail? I think I have another one, but I think it might be yours. I'm gonna let you go.
Mine is baseball related.
Yes, that's exactly what it was.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm actually working with Grok right now to pull up the numbers because I want to see it ranked against everybody else. But if you missed it, Kyle Tucker just signed with the Los Angeles Dodgers a 4-year, $240 million contract coming in at $60 million per year. And if you're listening, it's like, well, the Dodgers, how on earth? How do they have $240 million to spend at this point? The answer is they don't. They do not. Right now, the payroll for the Dodgers for next season, if you add up all the deferred money, which is a whole nother conversation, we could talk about this for an hour, seriously.
Yep.
Um, they are going to be spending about $500 million just on their roster. Just on their roster. If you combine all of their contracted value right now, they have $2.1 billion dollars with a B. I'm going to say that one more time. $2.114 billion on the books right now. Billion. In second place is the New York Mets at just over 1 billion. In eighth place is the Atlanta Braves. I really wish Grok was getting these numbers to me because I saw them somewhere and I can't find them. That's on me. Should have bookmarked it. Whatever. The Braves are in eighth place with right around like 500 million in in agreed contracts. That's 8 times. Or no, it's not. Well, however much they spend,
Exorbitant.
it's
I think
8
it is
times.
close to 8. It's like 8.
Whatever the final value is for the Braves contracts, I did the math yesterday. It's 8 times as the Dodgers spend 8 times as much as they are.
And the Braves are like top 5 in spending in baseball. Go
Exactly.
look at what the Rays are spending and
You
compare
can
those.
you can add up the bottom 10 teams in MLB. The bottom 10 teams in MLB, and it's still less than what the Dodgers are paying in contracts. And we can talk about this all you want, but I want to know if y'all knew about this. In the 2011-2012 season, the Los Angeles Dodgers filed for bankruptcy.
Yep.
They were out of money. You know what happened? The MLB came and bailed them out, gave them $150 million to continue to have a franchise, or they weren't going to be able to continue to play baseball. MLB bailed them out. And 14 years later, the Dodgers are doing this to baseball. And I'll say this, what really makes me mad is, Dodgers fans on Twitter, because when they signed Kyle Tucker, it was an uproar. It's like, how on earth are they doing this? Like, how are they doing this? And all the Dodgers fans say, hey, don't be mad that our owner's spending money. Y'all are spending money y'all don't have, that you do not have. The Dodgers lost money last year. Do you know that? The Dodgers were negative in revenue last season. Even after winning the World Series, probably selling out a lot of games, having a lot of postseason games, selling a lot of jerseys, Shohei Ohtani jerseys, selling a lot of Dodger dogs, they were negative in revenue. They just signed a guy for $240 million. You know what they're going to be this year? Regardless, if they go 162-0 and sweep the playoffs, go to the World Series and win it, they will be negative in revenue this year. I'm telling you what's going to happen. The same thing's going to happen. They're going to run out of money. And I don't know what's going to happen, but there's no way they're going to be able to pay this $2.1 billion. Their owner isn't even worth $2.1 billion.
No.
So what's the plan here? Like
The
what's the
plan is to
plan?
sell the team. That's the plan. They're going to offer all this deferred money and to sell the franchise and part of the sale of the process of the team because they're not going to be able to keep the lights on forever. You're exactly right.
No.
And you want to go back to the bankruptcy situation. Not only did they bail them out, they gave them the cushiest TV deal in baseball, which, by the way, I think there's 11 or 12 teams that just opted out of the FanDuel Sports Network, the group of rights deal for the TV network. So those teams are getting $0 for a TV deal this year. I mean, we saw the Arizona Diamondbacks, I think, last year, or maybe it was an MLB or an NBA, Phoenix Suns, somebody in Arizona went to where they had to sell their own TV rights on their own website because nobody out there, they can't pay the bills. So when you get teams like this, they're spending, 20 times more than the bottom tier. the Los Angeles Dodgers just booked us for a lockout next year. There's
Mhm.
no way we survive in this state now because the CBA is going to be up, and some of these teams, even the New York Yankees, I think will be on board at this point. The Dodgers and the Mets are going to be on an island on their own, unless they just rope some owner that doesn't care, like the Oakland A's owner, to say, this deferred money. First of all, Shohei's AAV is 70 million a year. If you count the true number of the contract, screw the deferred money. But since it's deferred, it only counts 42 towards luxury tax. That's bullshit, especially if nobody else has the rights or the clearance from ownership to go and spend reckless money like that. Like nobody's doing that. Their top six paid players, the bottom 10 payroll that you talked about, I don't think they could pay Betts, Freeman, Will Smith, Kyle Tucker, Blake Snell, and Yamamoto. They couldn't even pay those guys with the money that their revenues are this year. It's insane what the Dodgers are doing. They're ruining baseball.
Just on Shohei and Kyle Tucker, just them two. That's $130 million in total contracts. That's almost double what the Rays' entire contracted value is right now. Right now, the Rays are at 30 with $70 million.
Insane.
$70 million. That's Shohei's contract. Shohei makes more money than the entire Tampa Bay Rays organization. I'm glad you brought up the luxury tax. Right now, the Dodgers are at 110% luxury tax. So we can say all you want, like, okay, the Dodgers signed Kyle Tucker to a 4-year, $240 million contract. They're paying 110% more on that. So they're basically paying double. They're paying like $490 million, $600 million on this contract over 4 years. And and I'll also say this, the last thing I'll say about my deep thought. For years, so there's been a minority of people in baseball saying there needs to be a salary cap, there needs to be a salary cap, there needs to be a salary cap. And MLB and the players and almost all the 30 teams were all like, no, it's fine. It's fine. The teams who want to pay more money, they can, but it's not sustainable because then there'll be a net loss in revenue and then they'll have to cut some contracts. And teams at the bottom, if they're not going to spend money, they're not going to spend money at the salary cap regardless. So it all evens out. And for years, that was kind of right. You saw teams like the Rays when they got hot in the 2000s and went to the a World Series. You talk about the Oakland A's when they had their run. The Brewers were a team that never really spent much money, but we've seen the Brewers, be
Yeah.
quite competitive. That's all changing, and I do feel like there might be two teams max that stand behind the Dodgers and say, this we need to continue to do it this way. And I think probably some of the players are going to get pissed off too, because at the end of the day, listen, the players want to get their bread 100%. But these are competitive people. These are very competitive people, and I guarantee you, man. I mean, Austin Riley's probably pretty pissed off that when he was seeing these numbers get thrown around, and I don't know, something has to happen. And it's going to. The Dodgers are forcing the hand. They're forcing the hand.
So what? How does like if the lockout, if we're gonna have a lockout, why? Like if the players with the salary cap, you think I'm trying to say, if the players don't want a salary cap, probably right because they want to be able to make as much money as they can, and the owners are cool with it. Like how do we end up in a lockout? Like what is it?
Because they're
The
I
player's
don't
not
know.
going to agree to the revenue
The
share
players probably
percentage.
won't agree. Yeah, that it's gonna come down to that. There's not gonna be enough players that sign off on it, and I'm probably being a little, optimistic about the amount of clubs that are gonna be able to stand with the Dodgers. There's probably gonna be a couple other ones. Like Caleb made a great point. Some of these teams at the bottom that own their team, they make their money, and that's all they wanna own the team for. They'll probably stand behind the Dodgers and say, I'm cool with this. Listen, we make a lot of money on this team. I don't have to shell out all these contracts and we're good. They'll probably stand behind the Dodgers and say we're cool
Yeah.
with it. Um, but I don't expect baseball to get played next year. It won't be starting in the summer.
It'll be abbreviated for sure. I think what the hinge point of the contention of the conversation next year, it's going to be centered around salary cap, but it's also going to be centered around salary floor. And if the MLB is really concerned with getting parity back in baseball, they cannot allow teams like the Dodgers to rake in, $400 million or whatever their money revenue is off the TV deal, and then other teams come across scraps like 30 or $40 million, and you expect people to pay others the same rate. Because if you're going to instate a salary floor, you're going to have to subsidize from the larger teams, some of these little teams, it's going to be a mess. It's going to be a massive mess. And owners in the MLB, just because of the state of the league and the way it's made, these guys aren't built just to be like sell out, go be competitive. Like in the NFL, I think I would say like 27 of the 32 owners are committed to trying to win a football game. In the MLB, half of the guys that own baseball teams are just concerned with operating costs and how much revenue they'll be able to pocket every year. It's a business.
Mm. Well, yep, I knew that was what Jake was gonna bring up. I had that written down, but I knew that's what he was gonna bring up. So, I'm glad we got to talk about that. That will get clipped on YouTube. You're gonna get a whole segment on that one. Wait until you see it. Okay,